Yo, what's up, people? Welcome back. Today's another OU ORAS battle. I need to start having some UU Ubers. I wanted to have an Ubers battle because I wanted to test out a Pokemon that I really wanted to use, but just the people that were challenging me to Ubers, I didn't have great battles with them. It was just mostly me sweeping through their team, and it just wasn't great, but I actually found somebody who wanted to have an OU battle. I'll probably put an Ubers or a UU battle next time, and he actually has a very interesting team. I haven't seen freaking Ferrothorn, Medicham, and freaking Venusaur in so long. And I'm actually not running in one of the new remake Megas. I'm actually running Mega Manectric because I know this thing is a threat and I used to love this thing. So let's go ahead and get right into the battle. So coming into this battle, I saw he had no Rapid Spinners or Stealth Rockers. So I decided I pretty much want to get as many hazards up as possible, especially my Stealth Rocks. I wanted to lead off with my Landorus, but I figured if he led with Greninja that would be bad, so he actually leads with his Altaria, which is great because I can figure out what type of Altaria this is, and that would be great. It would be great if this thing wasn't a Dragon Dance set because I would have to play around it. It'd outspeed my whole team, but he goes for Fire Blast, and that does a crap load of damage, of course, because my Fortress is defensive, and it's great that this thing isn't a Dragon Dance physical set because it can run through my team if it is. As I'm able to red card this thing out and get off my Stealth Rocks, which is great. Part 1 is done. I got off my Stealth Rock. I got up my Stealth Rocks. He has no Defogger or Rapid Spinner to get rid of these, and that's just residual damage on such a bulky team. And he actually switches. It actually switches him out into Slowbro, which is great because I can set up a layer of spikes. I really saw no reason to switch out, go for Volt Switch, just in case he sets up his own rocks. I can't get a Rapid Spin. It'll just be fodder, as those spikes will help a lot. So I'm going to go out into my Manectric. I love Mega Manectric. As he is shiny, he's black and yellow, nice. And I know he's going to switch out, so I just went straight for a Volt Switch just to get that switch initiative. As he goes out into his pants, his freaking Medicham, and I know that that Altaria evolved, Mega evolved, so I know this Medicham is not a Mega evolving Medicham, a Mega Medicham. So I know this thing is Scarfed because that's pretty much the only thing that you run if you don't have a Mega Stone. So I'm gonna go for the Volt Switch here, get some nice damage on this thing. And I'm not really sure about bringing anybody in on this thing like Landorus. This thing can have Ice Punch, and I don't want any damage that is unnecessary. So I'm gonna go out to my Weavile. I'm gonna go. He's the only priority to user that I have. So I'm actually gonna go for a Fake Out and kill this Mega Medicham. I say Mega Medicham. Kill this Medicham. So now he goes out into his Ferrothorn, which is a huge threat. My Weavile can't do much to it. It can go for knockoff low kick, but I don't really want my Weavile to take any unnecessary damage. He takes a little chunk from the hazards, which is good. I don't have to worry too much about it. So I'm going to go into my Rotom because I'm pretty sure he was going to go for either Leech Seed or Gyro Ball. And I know my Rotom can take a Gyro Ball, and I don't really care if my Rotom gets Leech Seeded. As he sets up his Stealth Rocks. And this is bad because I don't have a Rapid Spinner or a Defogger anymore. My Fortress was my only Rapid Spinner. So I'm going to go for Volt Switch now. As I am Specs, it does a small chunk, but damage is damage. So I'm actually going to switch out into my Landorus just in case he wants to go for that Leech Seed now, or if he has Power Whip or something. So I'm going to go for my Landorus, get that Intimidate off, make sure he's doing no damage. And my Landorus, he's inside. So my Landorus has full HP and attack, but this thing sets up spikes. He's just putting all the hazards on my field. So I guess this is revenge for me putting my hazards up. So I'm just going to keep my Landorus, and I don't really care about these hazards except for my Manectric. My Manectric will take a lot of damage, so will my Weavile. But I'm going to go straight for an Earthquake and do a huge chunk to this Ferrothorn. I know I can two-hit KO this Ferrothorn, but he does set up his final layer of spikes, his second layer of spikes. No, it's not final. It's the it's set up to 3 layers. So he sets up his second layer of spikes. And I'm just going to keep going for Earthquake. He doesn't have anybody that's off the ground that can dodge an Earthquake. So now I'm going to go for another Earthquake, kill this Ferrothorn. His Ferrothorn did do his job, though. That's kind of unfortunate. But I do get rid of this huge, bulky thing. As now he goes out into his Greninja, and I really have nothing for this Greninja. I know that he's either going to go for an Ice Beam or a Scald, so I'm actually just going to switch out into my Rotom because my Rotom is Calm Specs. So he should take an Ice Beam or a Scald relatively well because they both are resisted. And even then, he can take a Dark Pulse and knock this thing out with I'm pretty sure knock it out with the Volt Switch. As he does go for an Ice Beam, and that doesn't do too much damage. He does take that Life Orb recoil, so I'm now sure that he's Life Orb. He's not Scarfed. I don't have to worry about him outspeeding my Weavile. As he does switch out, I knew he was going to switch out, really. So he goes out into his Altaria now, which takes a good chunk from the Stealth Rocks and Spikes. As I'm going to go for a Volt Switch. That's also some chip damage versus this thing. Chip damage is damage. It doesn't knock it below half, but it does help a lot as I can go out into my Landorus now because I didn't want anybody else to hit him. He lives in, he just destroys their life. I know my Landorus can live one attack because he does have max HP. He does intimidate this Altaria, but it really doesn't matter because he's a special attacker. So I'm going to get some leftovers. I'm going to just be so close to being full HP, but I'm going to go for an Earthquake, and it barely lives with like 1 HP and goes for Hyper Voice, and I get knocked down really low. So this is actually pretty good because I don't have to worry about Greninja coming in. I can just go for a U-turn, get some he does have Switch Initiative, but I know that I don't want that Greninja to be on when I have this Landorus out because he can just go for Dark Pulse and it'll just do so much damage. I have nobody to switch into that. So now I can go in my Rotom just to keep that Greninja out since it can't kill me with one hit. As he goes out into his Venusaur, which is a huge problem. I don't like Venusaur. I have nothing to counter a Venusaur on my team. No Psychic types, no Flying types. So I'm actually going to go for Will-O-Wisp. And I actually have Will-O-Wisp on a Specs set, which is pretty dang funny because it ends up working out as he goes for a knockoff, and that does jack shit because he's burned, and he knocks off my Choice Specs, and also has Pain Split on this thing. I don't know why I run that on here. I just wanted Choice Specs for the Volt Switch and the Hydro Pump, just in case. So I'm going to go for the Pain Split now, get up to a good amount of HP. I know I can live any of his attacks, and pretty much whittle this thing down to the point where one of my other Pokemons can knock it out. As he goes for Giga Drain, and I am calm, so I just barely live that, and he gets a whole bunch of health back, along with having the Black Sludge, and he's taking residual damage from the burn. As I'm just going to keep going for Pain Split, just to knock this thing down as low as possible, probably getting a low, hoping that he gets a low roll, and my Rotom can at least live the Giga Drain. But unfortunately my Rotom does die. But at least I knocked this thing down pretty low to the point where another Pokemon will be able to come in and revenge kill it. The only thing that I can think of that can revenge kill it was probably either my Weavile to knock off or my Landorus's Earthquake. But I didn't want my Weavile to come in and take some hazards, so I went straight into my Landorus as he only has to worry about Stealth Rocks. And I'm just going to go for an Earthquake because I figured Earthquake would be the best move. I thought that it'll probably live, go for Giga Drain, and kill it, and I can just probably kill it with somebody else. But I actually do kill this thing with Earthquake. It's probably more special defensive. I get some leftovers, get just a little bit of health as he goes out into Greninja. I was thinking about second off my Landorus, but I thought Landorus had at least a little bit of utility left in him, probably just a sec off. So I'm actually going to go and suck off my Quagsire because I know Quagsire won't do much to Greninja or a Slowbro as it is a Curse Waterfall set. And it really won't do much to these special attacking monsters. As he's going to go for Surf. He probably runs Surf over Scald because Surf has higher base power. He doesn't want to probably worry about a burn. So he does get a crit. I'm not sure if that mattered. It really didn't matter because he can just knock me out next turn. As now could either go into my Manectric or my Weavile, but I decided to go into my Weavile just in case that Slowbro ends up being a gimmick set. My Manectric can just come in and kill it. So I actually meant to go for a knockoff, but I misclicked and went for a low kick as he switches out into his Slowbro, probably thinking that he could take any move, or Weavile is throwing at it because Slowbros are bulky as shit. They're really, really fat. So I go for the low kick, and that does jack shit to this thing. And I'm just taking life orb damage as now I decide I'm going to go for knockoff. I was pretty sure that knockoff wouldn't kill because, like I said, Slowbros are fat as hell. So I'm going to go for a knockoff, and this kills the Slowbro. Slowbro is just, his health just vanished. You know, it didn't vanish, but I'm surprised that it actually killed. And I know I can outspeed a Greninja. It's life orb, not choice scarf. And my Weavile is jolly, so it doesn't matter. It will not be able to outspeed me. And he does take the hazard. It knocks it down really low, and I can just go for an ice shard and kill this thing. Just showing off that last move that I had. And that is good game. If you like these videos, hit the like button. If you want to see more, subscribe. And comment if you want to battle. Or hit me up on Showdown or wherever. Twitter. And thanks for watching.